Welcome to Chapter 7. This is where we're going to walk you through kind of our natural light portraits that we would do with our groomsmen. And this section is, again, so incredibly approachable and applicable to virtually any location. Now, how do we find these particular scenes? Well, we arrived in the morning, and actually when we got there, we always pre-scout our scenes. And it's no different on a styled shoot than it is on a wedding. I'm gonna arrive an hour early, I'm gonna scout the location, and I'm gonna be using Sunseeker to tell where my son is gonna be at different times of the day. So during that morning piece, I was using Sunseeker and I could tell that, okay, the sun is gonna be caught behind buildings up until this point in time, then it's gonna be in the air. Well, of course it's in the air. Where else would it be? It's in the sky. All right, so then it's gonna be like midway through the sky around noon, but guess what? On the sidewalk, there's these big trees, and even during that time, those trees can kind of block the light and we still have a little bit of direction to it and it'd still work out well. I also noticed in the valet side, so on the valet side, we have this big white wall of the hotel, and we have, yes, the valet kind of driveway, which isn't something that we necessarily wanna photograph, but we also have these nice vines on the other side with a curb that groomsmen or the groom could stand on. And when they're standing there, there's actually fill light that would be coming off the sun. When the sun gets to that point in the sky, it'll bounce right off the building and into their faces. So I thought, great, that's a perfect place to shoot, anytime in the middle of the day. We also have a spot around the back where we have vines and all this other stuff, like kind of on the back of the sidewalk area, which we'd utilize as well. So all these things were basically pre-scouted and pre-found. And then when we got to that point in the day, it was, hey, I know these locations are gonna work well during this time of day so we can go outside and hit those spots. So being in the right place at the right time, that's not a matter of kind of coincidence. It's us using Sunseeker and saying, okay, at the 4 p.m. time slot, this location is absolute money. It's money. We gotta shoot there. Or at 6 p.m., we gotta go here because it's gonna be perfectly backlit. Or at 2 p.m., we gotta go here because there's gonna be a reflection off this building and it looks amazing. So that way, whatever time of day it is, when we have this moment of time to go and do these photographs, I know exactly which place to go to based on that time. So remember to keep it simple, pre-scout and use Sunseeker, visualize the day, and then based on the time of day where you have a moment in time to capture whatever portraits it might be, choose a location that best fits based on what you researched earlier. Let's go ahead and jump into these videos now. All right, so we are here on the morning of groom prep. Now, as a second shooter, most likely you're gonna be the one to shoot groom prep. On occasion, the lead shooter might be able to shoot both the bride and the groom if the timeline allows for it. But more often than not, it's gonna be the second shooter that ends up shooting the groom. And oftentimes they're gonna be at different locations. So we're here in Beverly Hills at the SLS Hotel. This is a good example of just a nice boutique hotel to photograph in, and we're gonna go through and basically do our location scouting. Remember that every shoot should start with a good session of location scouting. We need to understand the lighting in the scene. We need to know, based on the timeline, what areas of this property are gonna be great to shoot at different times of the day. We can see that the sun is basically tracking over right about here. So it's behind these buildings on this side. So if I look, we're set to, like, right now it's about close to 7 a.m. So the sun is about poking out right on the horizon, but it's hidden behind these buildings right up until about 8:30. The sun is gonna kind of reveal itself and it's gonna be shining directly on the side of the hotel. Now, based on that, I could say if we have time, let's say around 11 or 10, and we get out of groom prep and we need a place to shoot, well, I know the sun's gonna be there in the sky, and so this area over here, you can actually see if we walk over, it looks beautiful, it looks fantastic. This is a perfect spot that I would actually shoot the groom, but I know that that's not really gonna be the best place to shoot when the sun comes out. Why? Because the sun is gonna be casting shadows directly into that area, so it's gonna be shooting from the side as opposed to being backlit or as opposed to being in a different position. If it was coming from behind or directly overhead even, I might get really good light, but since it's coming in directly from the side, that might not be the best place to shoot. So understanding the light direction is gonna tell me during different times of the day what places I can potentially shoot at. So while this looks great right now, and I have a lot of potential in different backgrounds and shooting down the street with a compressed and telephoto lens, or shooting into the kind of vegetation over here to have a nice and simple background, it might not be available between the hours of 9 and 11 a.m. when the sun is kind of shining directly into this area. So let's keep moving. Now on this side we have a couple really nice spots this is the lobby area basically of the SLS. And so we have this right side where there's kind of this Aries, like little, I think it's the Aries, I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's the Aries. But there's like a little coffee and breakfast area over there. The general thing that I would recommend is whenever it comes to photographing in the lobby, always be aware of guests. And generally I like to ask the front desk first, is it okay if we take a few pictures, you know, of the bride or the groom in these areas? Be sure to ask, because a lot of times a hotel might have specific rules against shooting in lobby areas because they don't want those areas to be congested. They don't want to interfere with other guests and so forth. So we want to really adhere to those policies that they might have and be kind of good guests of the hotel while we're here as well. But in looking at the light direction here, we have kind of this beautiful background with all of the different furniture and everything that they have set up. And it has a very nice orangey tungsten light in it. If we are actually placing our groom or our bride or whoever we're photographing facing the sunlight, we can get this really nice daylight balanced lighting on them with a great flat light, a good directional light, and we can shoot into these backgrounds really easily. So let's actually go up and check it out real quick. All right, so this is kind of what I'm talking about. If you place your subject kind of at the edge where this light is entering, then you have this really beautiful directional light that's coming in. It's being cast from the sky, from the clouds, and it's entering in over this overhang. And behind us, we have this tungsten light with furniture. We have all that kind of stuff. So it makes for a really great backdrop in shooting any type of portraits. It's gonna have a really nice look to it. Again, we just wanna be aware of guests. We wanna know that if we're here during peak times of the day, there's probably gonna be people sitting all around these areas and it's not really gonna be available to shoot. So be wise and kind of stick to your timeline. If it's around a peak time of day, maybe skip it so you don't end up wasting time coming down, finding a location, and then realizing, hey, it's not possible to shoot in those locations. Again, one of the best ways to do that is to ask the valet who's working in this area, hey, what are the busy times? When it's not busy, would you mind if I come down and take a few shots of the bride or of the groom or of the wedding party and so forth? Again, the front desk as well is a great place to ask those kind of questions. Let's keep moving. All right, one thing I want you guys to be aware of is when you step in very deep into the shadows, like I am right now, I'm gonna be basically underlit. So I'm not catching enough of that daylight that's coming in to balance me out and to make me bright enough. And so what ends up happening is I kind of fall into this background. The background becomes brighter than myself. So whenever you're placing your subject, make sure that you either place them at the edge where that light is entering enough to properly light them, or you're gonna need to supplement. You're gonna need to add additional light into the scene. But here you can get a clear view of this nice little background. What I would do is, rather than shooting the entire background at a time, I would select certain areas. I might use just a piece of this little sofa right here with a lamp and maybe the bookcase in the background. I'm gonna select certain pieces so that the background doesn't look overly busy. Also, it makes it much easier to shoot in these kind of areas when there are a lot of people. If there's a few people on each side, we can select a little area, and while we're waiting for, say, the limo or for the car to be pulled up, we can have the groom right there and we can take a couple quick portraits. Another really great spot is actually on this side of the room where we can see this great couch. If we had a wedding party, we actually had a moment to shoot out here, it'd be a great spot to shoot. But keep in mind that at least right now, the balance of light in this area is very heavily tungsten. Okay, we have these really bright tungsten lights that are hitting this sofa, and we need to make sure that if we're gonna light right here, if we're gonna shoot right here, we need to be adding additional light. So most likely what we'd probably do is we would take a umbrella, I'd put a flash up right here with a tungsten gel on it, and maybe like just a shoot-through umbrella, and I'd just place that right here to supplement and add on to that tungsten light coming in. It's gonna depend a little bit on the time of day. We once again know that around, let's see, 10 a.m. is when the light is gonna be right there in the sky and shining into this overhang area, and that's when our daylight is gonna be the brightest. So during that time of day, we kind of have to gauge and see, are we gonna balance to tungsten, if tungsten is dominant, or if daylight is dominant, we're gonna balance to daylight white balance with whatever additional flash that we're adding. So another really cool background. Let's go ahead and take another look. Now over here inside, most likely we're not gonna be able to photograph anything there. This is like an actual guest area where they're gonna be having breakfast and other things. And so really, we're probably not gonna be able to shoot even if we had the time in that kind of an area. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we talked about a moment ago how we probably wouldn't be able to shoot on the other side of this because the sun's gonna be directly coming in. I'm gonna say that this is going to be one of our best spots for not only portraits of the groom, but also portraits of the groomsmen. If especially we're, say, waiting outside for the limo, we're waiting for something to happen for them to move from one location to the next, and we have a little bit of extra time to spare, I'm going to utilize this spot. I know it's going to be a great spot because, once again, Sunseeker tells me that, hey, you know, right around 9, 10 a.m., the sun is going to be directly behind us, basically. So if I'm standing this way, the sun is directly behind and shining into the hotel. Now, what happens is that I know from understanding lighting, from our classes on Photography 101 and Lighting 101 and Lighting 201, that I'm looking for natural reflectors all around us. And we have a gigantic natural reflector right here. Look at the hotel. The side of this hotel is gonna catch all of that sunlight that's coming in, and this is a neutral color. It's fairly white, it's fairly, you know, bright. It's gonna catch that light, throw it directly into your subject's faces, and you can shoot against this beautiful, simple background, not only doing close-ups, but you can even do wide shots. You can have them standing on the curb. It's a great spot for sitting shots. It works in so many different ways. And so this is gonna be on my mind as I'm photographing throughout the day. If it's 9, if it's 10, if it's 11 a.m., and we're moving from one location to the next, which is very likely, I'm gonna come right back down to this spot and we're gonna shoot while we're waiting for them to be able to, you know, hop in the limo or to be able to move from one location to the next. So keep these kind of things in mind. This is a golden spot for photography. So let's keep moving. Okay, so we talked about this earlier. This is a beautiful place to be. We have this great light coming in. We have a good fill coming off the wall of this. It's a perfect spot. We have a nice simple background and it looks beautiful. We're in the middle of the valet, so what we want to do is be very cautious and careful. We've already asked management to make sure that we can indeed shoot here. We want to stay out of the way, so I'm going to be on this side, they're on that side. Cars can still pass through. We're not blocking traffic. And I've got the groomsmen standing up on this little curb, so basically what I can do is shoot kind of down low. And so, Will, remember that story that we talked about? Yeah. I want you to tell that story to these gentlemen right now. So what exactly is happening right here? Well, earlier, maybe 30 minutes, 60 minutes prior, I asked Will, I said, Will, do you have a story about your brother Heath that would get the groomsmen laughing and might embarrass Heath a little bit, just something fun? And Will said, absolutely, I have the perfect story. I said, great, think about that at a later point in time. I'm gonna ask you to tell that story. So we do this because we want to give the best man time. We want to give them time to prepare the story, and if you do that, it'll work flawlessly. Oftentimes, if you put the best man on the spot and say, tell a story, it's not going to work out that well because they don't have time to think of something funny, and the joke and everything kind of falls on its face. But this is an idea that I actually got from Jamie Ivins. And remember, we always encourage you guys to network, develop friends in the industry, because my friends and fellow photographers, they are a fantastic source of inspiration. We all help each other. This is an idea that I got from him, and it works incredibly well to basically start up this moment where you just say, okay, best man, tell the story, and then from then on, you're gonna get natural and fantastic emotional images of the guys having a good time. You simply work your different angles, get your shots, and it all happens directly in front of you without you having to do anything. So it's one of the best ways that I've found to get natural and emotional, candid imagery out of the groomsmen. So go ahead and try that out. Let's keep on going with the video and watch what happens.
Okay, so like 2 years ago, remember that song Call Me Baby?
Oh my God, stop it. Stop.
2 years ago,
This is not even fair.
parody.
No, we didn't.
We did it, and they made it. They made it.
No, we didn't. It's not on YouTube.
So you can
No,
tell
it's
it's
not.
not there. It was
No, it's not.
for Alex Morgan, the girl. She's like
This
a
isn't
Morgan
true.
She was like a pink sports bra, and they wrote this whole song.
As they're going, I'm gonna keep moving and getting different angles.
They did tweet us, just so you know. And it was, I didn't do it. I'm just saying, if it happened, it would have worked.
They did a parody video called Trying to Get This Girl.
At this point, you hear me clicking quite a bit. And any of these kind of emotional and candid moments, I'm gonna take a lot of shots. Now, I want to encourage you guys, don't just use burst mode and spam the shutter and take the same shot over and over. Wait for these different expressions and refocus every single time. So I'm fully pressing the button down every single time. That way, if one of the focuses is off, it's not off through my entire sequence of images if you're using burst mode and just firing through an entire set. But we take several images in these types of moments for a specific reason, and that reason is many times, especially when you have more than 2, 3, 4 people in an image, capturing the perfect candid expression where everybody in the photograph has a great expression on their face is difficult. And the more people you have in the shot, the more likely one of those people is gonna have blinky eyes, they're gonna have a weird expression, they're gonna be doing something that makes the image not work. So we're gonna take several images through each of these, and I would highly encourage you guys as you're shooting these, look at your LCD every few shots. Just make sure that you got that perfect expression before you switch angles. Once you get a shot or two that has great expressions on everybody, switch your angle and then move back and forth till you get a nice set of documentary images in this particular moment. So just remember, with candid images, you will need to pop a few. Remember when using burst mode to make sure that you're pressing the button every time to get a full focus on each one, so you guys aren't getting a series of misfocused images. Let's go back to the video. JP, go right hand in the pocket. There you go. All right, well, Heath, do you got any stories about Will? The story's done. I give a little bit of guidance to JP, who's kind of doing something odd with his hand. And then Heath is saying to Will, like, oh my gosh, why would you tell that story? And so I kind of said back to Heath, hey, do you have a story of Will that you'd like to share, basically? So I'm kind of like keeping the moment going by giving Heath now the opportunity to get his brother back. So let's keep on going. Let's check out that sequence of images here.
Yeah, I haven't looked in years. I haven't thought about it probably 2 years. We brought it up this morning. This morning we were like walking through the sun. I don't know why it came up.
Fantastic.
And that's the one? That was a precious story in my mind.
So that's it for this piece. And we're gonna go ahead and just kind of keep moving. There's a walking shot that I wanna do of them, but we're done out here in the valley. We wanna be quick, be brief. That took less than 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and move on. What we're doing now is what we refer to as kind of the guys' Reservoir Dogs walk. So I'm gonna have them actually walking. Now, I've put them in order and I've put the groom towards the right side. Why? Because I wanna bias my compositions kind of towards that right side. And so he's gonna be kind of the focus, since we're gonna have 2 on his left, 1 on his, well, 2 on camera left, 1 on camera right on each side of the groom. And that way we can kind of shoot more into the hedges and kind of up into the nice background, as opposed to getting a lot of the streets and the cars. Again, this is all about showing what we want to show. I'm on a 35mm lens, and the reason for this is I want to be able to shoot close and stay in the action. And then I'm going to switch out to something like a 7200 and we'll shoot it further back and we'll get actual compression and kind of show that shot as well. It's a nice shot to have too. I like both of them, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick the 35 because it puts me in the action. And so when I feel like they're walking and talking and having a good time, it's gonna be a little more candid, a little more natural, a little bit in the action as opposed to observing the action with a longer telephoto lens. So all we're gonna do for this is have them kind of get into that place. We're gonna tell them to relax, walk at about 30% regular speed, just taking steps with each other, having a good time, talking and chatting with each other. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm also gonna dial in my exposure. So might as well do that right now with my live view. And I'm at 1/500th of a second, f1.4 and ISO 200. I'm gonna try and keep it at 1.4. If I'm having a hard time focusing or getting it, I'll go up to 2.0, but usually I'm good at 1.4. So let's go ahead and jump in. So gentlemen, what we're doing is the Reservoir Dogs walk. You guys seen Reservoir Dogs? Okay, so it's kind of that bottom up shot of you guys walking.
Can you do it for me?
I can't do the whole movie, baby. I can.
You're directing.
It's 2 hours long. No, what we're gonna do is you guys are gonna walk and just look inwards toward each other, having a good time, chatting it up. Brush the hair, brother, so it kind of stays a little bit down, and just in the back you got a little bit up, and on the side, there you go. That's right. That's right, bro. Okay, so you're gonna just kind of just step with each other, go 30% speed, talking, having a good time. If you gotta just do a fake laugh, do it, baby.
All right.
Who cares?
You got it.
All right. Okay, let's do this. Heath is our man, so you guys can kind of mix it up. One of you, like JP, you can go hand in the pocket if you want, or open the jacket. That's totally cool. Will, let's go your right hand in the pocket.
Okay.
Neil, you're good like that? That's great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and start moving, guys.
All right.
There you go. 30%
30%.
30% speed.
Yeah.
It's about 30.
How fast is the photo where you move on?
I don't know. I feel like this.
All right, pause. That looks great, guys. Go back again.
All these people think I'm actually getting married.
Probably.
Oh, 80% would say congratulations.
Yeah, I know. Somebody buy you a drink at the bar at least. Like, get something out of it.
All right, and then take like 5 steps back. I want you guys to start a little bit further back. Let's go. There you go, guys. Perfect. I'm gonna use this tree in my foreground to kind of block everything out. So guys, go ahead and start walking slow, looking toward each other, talking. There you go.
That's about 30, yeah.
That's about 30. You guys are just stuck on this 30 thing.
It's hard to walk straight, look. That's what all these things.
That's solid. Let's check that out.
How old are you?
26.
You?
23. I think that one. 23.
32.
32 for real?
I just turned 32.
Really?
Yesterday, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
All right. I got the shots that I want, but if you don't get the shots that you need, and let me just come closer to explain this. I got some great looking images from this. I can go ahead and show you. So they're really nice. We got great candids, we got good laughing shots, they look fantastic. If you don't get what you need, feel free to do this. We're gonna do a lean and a kind of a step and just make them laugh and get goofy. Again, most guys are good with this kind of stuff. You can give them a little bit of direction, let them go, let them enjoy themselves, but sometimes you'll get a group of guys that are just really uncomfortable. You're gonna have to do a little more work and help them to pose and help them to get in the right positions. I dropped down to 100 ISO and to 400th of a second shutter just to reduce the exposure a little bit, keep a little bit more of the highlights. I had a little bit of room in the shadows to go, so that's why I did that. Let's go ahead and set it back up. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the lean. So gentlemen, I'm gonna put you back right at that first spot, and for people that kind of have a hard time, like we're gonna demonstrate a bunch of groomsmen that aren't so natural in front of the camera. Let's pretend like we didn't get a good expression, which we already did, but you guys stand together and that's perfect. I want you to do that for all your photos actually from now on. So what you guys are gonna do is kind of pretend like you're walking, and the easiest way to do that is just to rock back and forth. So you're gonna go forward and then back, and then forward and then back. We're gonna kind of do that together. So, okay, so it's gonna feel really dumb and awkward, but it's gonna look great. So everybody's gonna rock forward at the same time. Okay, here we go. Give me a stupid laugh on 3. On 3, 1, 2, 3, stupid laugh, rock forward. There you go. Rock. That's perfect. Okay, now unbutton the jackets. I love this, so goofy. Okay, I want to do this. Go Will, go arm around Heath. All right, and then let's go like arm onto Will's shoulder. There you go. And then Neil, get in there. Yeah, and then walk forward. Walk, and then Will, everybody give give Heath a hard time, whatever that means.
Get off me!
Get off. Perfect. I don't know why every guy understands what it means to give somebody a hard time. But usually they go for his junk, so you guys are actually kept it pretty good. All right, so that was basically 2 different ways of getting some pretty natural expressions out of them. I mean, it kind of requires a lot of directing. It's a little more heavy-handed than we typically would like, but in some cases you just don't have the option. So when you're not getting the shots that you need, when they're not doing what you need, feel free to go in and direct, because that's what you're being hired for. They're hiring you to get great photos, and if you just stand there shooting what they're doing, and what they're doing is awkward and it doesn't look like they're having a good time, they're probably not gonna be happy with you as a photographer for just not saying anything. So feel free to step in, direct, make them do goofy stuff, get the shots that you need. And now what we're gonna do is actually step into a kind of a sequence where we're gonna get all the individual shots of them, just for the groom and the bride to have individual solo shots of the groomsmen and the bridesmaids and so forth. Also, it's nice to get these kind of shots because sometimes the groomsmen and the bridesmaids want them for later on, so they might end up purchasing them from the studio. So let's go ahead and do that now. And oh, you know what? I forgot to do my telephoto shots of this walking scene just so I could show you what it looks like. So let me actually get on the 7200. I'm gonna shoot that, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into the headshots and the kind of the portraits of each person individually. Now, one last thing, we're at 1.4 right now, so I'm just gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna keep my shutter speed at 1/400 so we keep everything sharp. To keep my exposure where it's at right now, I'm going to a 2.8 lens. That's 2 stops darker than at 1.4. So f2 to f2.8. So we're gonna go to ISO 200 and then to 400 to make up for it. So 1/400 of a second, ISO 400, f2.8. Let's set up on the lens. I wanna demonstrate to the audience like what it's like to shoot at telephoto so they can see the difference. So just do the same thing, 30% speed. Let's start you guys a little bit back further. We'll go 30% speed. You guys kind of walking, talking, having a good time, laugh it up. Be dumb, be goofy. And that's perfect. I want you guys to start in that like kind of hair light right there. Let's take a look at that. Perfect. Go ahead and start walking, guys. Go slow.
That good 30. My mom's big fan right here. So thumbs up.
Perfect. And then the last time, guys, I'm gonna have you do that walk one more time. I'm gonna start from back here and we're just gonna stay at 200 millimeters. And then Neil, make sure you stay relatively close to the groom. So like stay a little bit closer to him. All right, guys, action. All right. He's protecting his nuts when he's walking. I don't know why he's doing that. I'm gonna make you guys do it again. Go do it again. So I say to the groomsmen, Heath, you're protecting your nuts while you're walking. I say these kind of things to get the guys riled up. Now, of course, know your audience. You're dealing with a older, more mature crowd. These kind of bathroom humor jokes are not really the right and appropriate thing to be doing. But I say these kind of things because we train our seconds and thirds to always be on their 7200 during moments like this when someone else is directing, because they're looking for the candid laughs. And if you notice their response right when I say that, so if you watch this back, look at their responses. They are laughing. They're having a good time. It's the perfect time for a 7200 to just pop in there and grab shots of Heath and his brother laughing and having a good time. They're moments that really are difficult to replicate. So train your seconds, train your thirds to be ready for those types of things so that when you're interacting with your subjects, they can grab those kind of candid images as you are making them laugh and getting those expressions. Heath, go one hand in the pocket. There you go. And then keep walking. Let's make sure we got it. All right, relax. No, it looks fantastic. That's great. Oh, it's not a wasted shot. It's blackmail photos, right?
Exactly.
No, they're not wasted. All right, guys, so we're gonna do the individual shots right now. These are great, once again, because generally your groomsmen, your bridesmaids, they're gonna want these kind of photos. Not only the bride and groom want them, but then their families want them. They wanna purchase them. So get your individual shots so long as time is permitting. But it's something that we love doing. Now, let's talk about the light setup in this scene. To make these shots interesting, I have two options. If I'm going for a headshot, I'd probably take it up a little bit closer. We have this nice light coming in from this side. So I'm just gonna bring Neil, you bring your chin over to this side a little bit. There you go. And we're gonna step in kind of close, bring the chin down, and then chin over to this side a little bit more. There you go. I wanna kind of define his jawline a little bit. That's great. And then I'm gonna drop down to 100 ISO and 1/400 of a second, and really just smush the background out so we don't see the background at all. Neil, look towards this side now. Bring the chin over to this side. There you go. And look kind of down. And then now up to the camera. There you go, right there. Squint a little bit. Kind of, there you go. Squint and smile a little bit. There you go, perfect. Okay, so that's a great kind of a headshot type image. But the problem is if I back up a little bit, and I want to shoot this full length, not only is it difficult to shoot it full length without stepping into the street, but let me get a shot with his eyes not blinking. You're going to start noticing that we have this concrete thing right behind him and it doesn't look that great. So to make this shot more interesting, I'm just going to switch my angle a little bit. So we're going to walk over to this side, and rather than shooting that composition, I'm going to leave his chin, so bring the chin out towards the light a little bit. Right there. There you go. And you're good, you can head on through. You're totally fine, yeah. There you go. And then what we're going to do is shoot a little bit more angled so I get this depth of field kind of effect in the background. And that looks great. It's kind of ends up being a leading line that leads up into Neil. So Neil, go chin down a little bit. Right there, eyes to me, smile. There you go, right there, brother. Okay, we're gonna get that same shot full length. Full smile, Neil. There you go. Not the creepy smile, brother. There you go. Let's make sure we got this. He gave me these crazy creepy smiles.
Oh yeah?
I had to tell him to tone it back a little.
Neil, let's do that one more time. Okay, full smile. Lean a little bit forward with the neck, just a tiny, tiny bit. There you go, right there. Let's check these out. Make sure they're sharp. That's it, right there, brother. Full smile. Smile like you mean it, baby. There it is. Perfect. Make sure. There we go. Got your eyes open. Perfect. So with this, we get a much more interesting image with these lines that kind of lead back into him placed off the left side of the frame, that beautiful kind of blur in the background, then shooting it directly on. So we're gonna do that for each of the groomsmen now. We're gonna do the directly straight on headshot type image, and then we're gonna do the full length shot to show off their full suit and clothing. So let's do that. Will, you're up. Bring the chin over to this side, there you go, and then eyes right into the camera. So chin this way a little bit more, right there, eyes up here. All right, smile for me, baby. Dude, you guys got those crazy blue eyes going on. Sorry, I don't mean to be the pervy Persian guy that's commenting about your eyes. Okay, look out. Just bring the chin over to just a little bit right there, and then eyes right at me. There you go, right there. Chin down a little bit, right there. And then give me a little squint and smile. Perfect. Oh, that's solid. All right, bro, let me get your full length. Open up the left toe. There you go, stand with that wide kind of open stance. Perfect, just like that. And then, brother, bring the jacket in just a little bit, so it's, there you go. And now put your hands in the pockets, that's great. Stand up tall, take a breath in. And then look out towards your right side a little bit. And bring your right foot in just a little bit so you're shoulder width apart, and then point the toes out from each other. There you go, so kind of like this. You can stagger it a little bit, so one's in front of the other. There you go, that looks more comfortable. Perfect, brother. Then bring the chin a little bit towards this side. That's it right there, homie. Give me a full smile. All right, look at the cars. Pretend like they're funny cars. Perfect. That's great. Pretend like they're funny cars. Perfect. JP, you're in. I'm gonna start with that headshot first. JP, bring the chin over this side. Chin more over this way. Just turn the chest out a little bit this way. There you go. I'm gonna get your tie fixed up. Second shooters, pay attention to the details. Watch the details and everything. Make sure that his tie is up. And I'm actually gonna have you just close the gap between the tie and where this, the loop of the collar. Fantastic, give me the smile. Give me the full smile, give me the laugh. There you go. And look out towards that side wall, there you go. And then come back towards me. Let's get your full length. Step over this side a little bit, right there, perfect. And then straighten out the back a little bit, and then feet shoulder width apart, and then toes out. So there you go, bring the feet in together a little bit more. There you go, toes out, and stagger the stance. So one foot can go in front of the other a little bit. There you go, right there. Switch hands in the pockets. Perfect, chin up a little bit. Great. Bring the chin over to this side. There you go. Eyes over to the camera. Switch the hands in the pocket. Stand up tall, straighten the back. Right there, right there. That's perfect. Perfect. And then with the smile, look out to the funny cars. Go both hands in the pockets. There you go. And then serious one more time. There you go, right there. Perfect, brother. So one other great shot to get with your groomsman and groom is to get the groom with each groomsman separately. So you're gonna shoot them separate, and what we like to do is do a portrait where we'll do like a full-length portrait, a close-up portrait, and then something fun. You can kind of give them an idea of saying, hey, do something to the groom that's semi-appropriate, that he's gonna at least be able to attend his wedding. Don't hurt the guy. But do something to him that's kind of representative of you guys. You guys can do whatever. It could be a special high five, it could be giving him a hard time, it could be whatever it is, but do something fun for that second shot. And what I like to do is kind of tell each groomsman that goes afterwards is to one-up the one that went before you. So that way it kind of ups the ante a little bit, makes it like a fun game. Another cool idea is to make sure that second shooter is shooting like the reaction shots. If you have the rest of the wedding party present, if you have the rest of the groomsmen present, bunch them up on the side, and as they're watching what's going on, you'll get really great reaction shots of them. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's start with Will. So let's go Heath and Will together. And let's put you guys on the sidewalk right there. There you go. Perfect. And step right in the middle of the sidewalk and then come to this side a little bit. There you go. And then, Will, let's have you do the big brother thing, kind of hang on Heath a little bit. Hey. And then Heath, let's have you fix the hair a little bit. I'm just gonna get a quick little test shot, make sure we're good. I like this background right now. I like shooting against this, and I'm gonna get low right now. And what that's gonna do is kind of reduce the presence of the sidewalk in the frame. It also gives the guys a little more of a dominating stance over the frame. So it kind of gives them a power position. Cool, guys, here we go. Full smiles. Let me get a close up. And full smiles again. There you go. All right, Will, what you got for him?
I don't know. I literally don't know. I don't know what you're doing. I thought it was. I thought like it. Go. Yeah, that's what I'm right here. Okay. What?
Perfect. That's great.
No,
I know.
I have an idea.
Okay, scoot over this way, guys.
I have an idea.
Scoot over this way.
Office spring.
There you go, right there. Perfect. All right. Right there, guys. Fantastic. Let me get that close up real quick. All right, Neil, do your thing.
Just this.
Wait, do the A.
Yeah, of course.
A.
I think Pi knows this.
I don't know what this is. Oh, wait, I do know what this is. Perfect. That's our thing.
I know.
JP, you're in. That's great. Let's go your shoulder behind his a little bit, JP. All right, JP, is that your thing?
Yeah,
That's your thing? You got anything else?
that's my own thing. Yeah.
Let's do it. There you go. Hey, give me that mean look in the camera, JP. There we go. That's nice. Nice, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And with that, guys, that's it for this video. And that's it for the day.